Whether you agree or disagree, or it just simply goes over your head, you can still quote me, because that's what I said.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Native Talks. And if you have not heard it from these two lips, then you've been lied to and you've been tricked. Because before you can repeat it or even start to debate it, you just better make sure that you heard me say it. All right, y'all. Today's video is kind of an update to the last one that I did called It Takes a Village to Fight Crime. It Takes a Village to Fight Crime Part 2. And I hadn't planned on doing a video like this, but it kind of worked its way into that because since that video that I did, there's been two recent mass shootings since then. One that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a hospital. And then one that actually there's three. Let me take that back. That's three. One in Tulsa at the hospital. A second one took place in Iowa at a church. And just 2 days ago, people, an incident happened in Philadelphia where multiple shooters were shooting into a crowd. 3 people were killed, 2 men and a woman, and 14 other people were taken to the hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. The only thing that helped the situation not get as bad as it could have been was that the incident happened in a popular area in Philly where police presence was already there. Because on the weekends, police presence is always in that area due to the popularity, it being a hangout, a tourist area. So police are always there. So obviously these criminals weren't worried, scared, intimidated at all by the fact that law enforcement was there. And that kind of sets the tone for what kind of times we're living in when criminals don't even fear getting caught. They don't fear getting into a shootout. They don't fear anything. They just want to put their evil out there, harm other people, and they don't care what they run up against. Used to be a time when a criminal wanted to just get in, get out, do his dirt, and not get caught, not have any confrontation. It was about getting away with it. Now criminals don't care whether they get away with it. They just want to do it, and they don't care. And they will get you and anybody else who gets in the way of what they want to do. That's the time we're living in. You know, when I did my last video, I knew that crimes were going to continue, but I didn't think this soon that I would be talking about 2 more mass shootings where people have been murdered. Now, from what I know, I'm just going to kind of break down what I know. I have not researched these topics. So if I get something wrong, y'all can let me know in the comments and, hey, she didn't get that quite right. I'm just going based off of what I've heard from other sources. The situation that happened in Tulsa, I heard, was because a man had a surgical procedure on his back. And the doctor that he came to kill was the doctor who had done this procedure. And apparently the guy felt like the guy messed him up, didn't really fix anything because the guy was still having severe pain even after the surgical procedure. And although I understand, feeling like I got charged all this money, because let's face it, surgeries ain't cheap. They cost a grip. And insurance, even you can have the best insurance and you still gonna pay a chunk of that grip. Okay, so he was probably feeling I done paid all this money and this procedure was supposed to make things better, but it didn't. But just because, I understand the feeling on that, but just because of that, that doesn't give you the right to go and kill the man. Look, with any surgical procedure, that is a given. The surgical procedure is not a miracle. Okay, let's just put that out there. Jesus is the miracle worker. If you ain't gonna go to Jesus and you gonna trust the doctor, then you gotta know there's human error in that. Sometimes things don't go the way they supposed to. And in no way does a surgery ever promise you that it's going to fix the problem. All it is doing is trying to make things better for you, but it never guarantees you that it's going to fix the problem. And I think if people go into, doctors probably need to really drive that home with people that, yeah, we're suggesting that you get this surgery, but, it's not a guarantee. Anything can happen. Not just talking, because I think they focus so much on, you could possibly die on the table. They focus a lot on that. But there needs to be more focus on you may get up from this table and the situation may not be that much improved from what it was before. We're just trying to do what we can based on what we know to help you. But there's a huge window of what we don't know and a bigger window of what we can't control. And in those two windows, you can't blame us if something doesn't go the way you wanted it to go. And for him to decide to kill that man just because he was still in pain after his surgery, like I said, although I understand the frustration and I understand being angry about it, that doesn't give you the right to go and take the man's life. And anybody else who didn't have anything to do with your surgery and whatever issue you had with that doctor. He killed people that didn't have nothing to do with that. See, that's some craziness. Now, as far as the situation at the church in Iowa, now this goes back to a subject that I talked about in my last video where I was talking about how we need to do background checks and our laws need to be tightened, because the killing in Iowa was a direct situation that I was talking about where an inmate, a person who committed a crime, who had pending charges on them, was let out, and they went out and finished whatever it was in their crazy mind that they was intent on doing. Case in point, here's the scenario with the situation in Iowa. There was a woman, I can't remember what her name was. It started with an E. I want to say Edmonton. I think that was her name. Either was Edmonton or Eddington. I can't remember which one, but I think it's one of those names. She was in a relationship with the shooter. Apparently, she was trying to end things. Now, this guy, the shooter, had previous charges. Okay? Previous pending charges. He had previous charges and he also had pending charges. One charge was for stalking and threatening this woman. So he had been arrested for that before. Then he had pending charges on impersonating a public official. Now, I don't know about y'all, but last I checked, impersonating a public official, ain't that a felony? I do believe that's a felony. But somehow, with this pending charge of impersonating a public official and his previous charges of threatening this woman repeatedly, saying he gonna kill her, somehow that got him a bond out of jail. And as soon as he got out of there, they said that he took his guns and he followed her. She was going to Bible study at this church with two friends. And they were both female friends. He shows up in the parking lot of the church and confronts her. One of the friends tried to step in and help. He shot the woman and shot her friend. When he shot at the other friend was able to get away. Now, just inside the church where they were going, where the Bible study was happening, there were 80 people in there. They heard the shots and no one came out, but they heard the shots. but they were secured inside the church. Just think of the carnage that could have happened had he let them walk inside the church and he followed them in. There would have been more people dead, but in that particular situation, it was personal. You could tell that he was not interested in killing the people inside the church. He wanted that woman. But another woman lost her life because of it. You see what I'm saying? And my whole thing is, if his behind had stayed in jail where he was and not been allowed to bond out, they would be alive today. This is getting ridiculous. And it seems like with every mass shooting that happens, the very next day, they're reporting on another one. It's like we're not even getting a breather. We're not even getting a rest. You see what I'm saying? The stuff is just happening one right after another. Now, the situation in Philly, it's still fresh. It's still new. Like I said, I think it happened a day ago. All I heard was that there were several shooters that were shooting into a crowd of people that were in that populated area. We don't know how many of them it was. We don't know what kind of guns were used or anything like that. We just know that it was several shooters that were shooting into the crowd and that police presence was already there. And that's why, only 14 people, got shot multiple times and only 3 people died. It would have probably been more if police hadn't have been down there to deal with the situation as it was. But even in that, do you see what I'm talking about? Even with police presence, you still have 14 people that have been shot. You still lost 3 people and no one in custody. No one arrested. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Our laws are very, very flawed. Very, very flawed. And what really bothered me about when I saw the police officer, the police chief, talking about the situation in Iowa, when he did his live press conference, he called himself patting his department on the back about how I want to thank the officers for reaching. I'm like, hold up, bro. Hold up. How you go pat yourself on the back and say you did a good job in preventing something from getting out of hand when had you kept that dude behind bars, you never would have had a situation. You can't pat your back and try to act like you did something special when you know that your negligence in letting him bond out, knowing that he had a previous charge of threatening this woman's life. And he had a pending charge of impersonating a public official. His behind should have stayed in jail. But no. Now you want to soften the law. You want to let criminals back out the door. Okay, if what they did wrong to get them in jail got them in there, do you honestly think if you let them back out, they're going to just say, oh, well, he let me out, so I'm just going to be a good boy. I'm going to be a good girl. You all know that's not true. Whatever they did to get in there, if you let them back out, they're going to go back out there and do it again. These laws have got to stop. When someone is determined to take the life of another person, you have to stand in the gap and say, oh, no, you ain't. Not on my watch. And we used to have departments and police officers that would do that. Now, I know that the situation with Black Lives Matter and talking about defunding the police and police coming under a lot of scrutiny has caused them to kind of back away and not take stuff as seriously as they did before. And on some level, I do understand that. If you take away their funds, then they're not going to be able to give you the best service. But I understand the other side of it too, is that if too many officers are caught, living foul and causing the deaths of other people, then, But you don't defund the department. That's not the way to do it. That's taking away their money, because y'all don't realize those funds goes into solving cases, forensic cases of people that have been missing, people that have been murdered. And when your loved one is on the other side of that story, see, it's easy to get out and protest and Black Lives Matter and hold up your protest signs and defund the police and do this. Until it's your mama, your daddy, your child, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, your best friend, your husband, your wife. When it's somebody close to you that has died or is missing and you need help and you need answers, remember all of that defunding you talked about. Because now that's going to take away from you getting the help that you need for your loved one. And you're going to have it coming from a department that feels like they're being attacked. So they're like, well, why should I? Why should I put my effort into helping? They don't want me to. They want to take away everything that I can to get it done. All because of a bad apple. You see what I'm saying? We got to think about what we're saying. When we say defund the police, we really need to think about the long term. It's easy to jump on the emotion of that. It's easy to, to use George Floyd and all the other stuff that's happened and use that to funnel our emotion. But I'm sorry, we as Black people, because of what we've been through, we've walked in our emotion quite a bit. And it's time for us to get out of our emotion and start looking at things realistically. Emotions change. They go up and down. But reality is reality. And reality don't change. It is what it is. Regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of what you think should happen, reality is reality. And it's smacking us all up in the face right about now. We have got to get off this racial tip. Look, we're talking about life here. Life ain't got no color. When that bullet enters that body or that stab from that knife goes into that person, color is not the issue. It is a life being taken away by someone who did not have the right to do so. And I don't care what color you are. Do you honestly think if I'm laying on the ground trying to gag and get as much air as I can because someone has shot me or someone has taken a knife and stabbed me and I'm laying on the ground bleeding out, do you think I care about what the race of the person is that did it? Do you think I care? At that point, I'm just concerned that I'm going to die. And I'm trying to figure out, why am I laying here? What did I do to lay here? What did I do to sit here and have to try to figure out how I'm going to catch my next breath? What did I do to deserve this? I don't care nothing about what color you are. You tried to kill me. And as I'm laying on that ground fighting for my life, I truly believe race is not on the person's mind. It's, I want to live. That's what's on their minds. Somebody help me. And they don't care where the help come from. The help can come from a police officer, a white person, a Black person, an Asian person. It don't matter. Because when you are clinging on to life, you will take life from anyone who's willing to step out and help you. We have got to get rid of this, because what we're doing, these things are happening in our communities. It's happening in white communities. It's happening in Asian communities, Hispanic communities, Black communities. It's all over. Crime is crime. Evil is evil. Evil ain't got no color. Evil ain't got no race. Crime don't have no race. Crime don't have no color, y'all. But the way crime can keep growing is if you keep focusing on the wrong thing. Because if you keep focusing on the wrong thing, you'll never deal with the real issue. You'll be throwing jabs and swinging at race And evil is over here killing, saying, you missed. You going after race, and I'm over here, and I'm just taking lives. I don't care what race it is. You over here, Black Lives Matter. You over here, Brown Lives Matter. You over here, Asian Lives Matter. And evil is over here saying, I don't care. None of y'all matter. We have got to deal with the evil, y'all. Now, I know some of y'all ain't gonna like this part. But when we talk about dealing with the evil, we got to come face to face with what we as a society have done. I hear people that don't believe in God all the time, saying stuff like, I remember when COVID hit and a lot of Christians didn't want to get the vaccination. One of the biggest things I heard a lot of people saying was, isn't Christianity about loving your neighbor? Isn't that what God is about? Isn't he about loving your neighbor? Then why wouldn't you want to? Okay. Why do you want better? If you truly believe that God is a loving and caring and compassionate God, why are you trying to remove him from everything where he's needed? Why are you taking him out of our Constitution? Why are you taking him out of our country? Why are you taking him out of our schools? If you really believe that he's a kind God. See, that was the stuff you were speaking at me and other folk, when you was pushing everybody to get this vaccination, you was pushing everybody into, well, Jesus is love. And if he's love, then you should care about your neighbor. Well, why don't you care? Same question. Why are you taking him out of the schools when you know that the kids need the kindness and the care and the compassion of Christ? But you don't want him there. You don't want him in the country. You saying take the 10 commandments down, get rid of the Bible. We don't want God. We don't want anything. And see, God is like this. I've said it many times before in previous videos, and I've said it to other people. God is a gentleman. He ain't gonna force you to do nothing. That's why I don't get where all the hatred towards him comes from. He knows why. I just don't. I'm human. I don't know where all the hatred is coming from. Because if God was the type of person that was forcing, if he had his hand on everybody and just said, you will bow down, you will do what I say, and I don't care. See, God don't do that. God put what he wanted out there, but he said, I'm going to let you choose. Now, I got a consequence for what you choose, but you're free to choose whatever you want to do. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And if you're willing to live with the consequence, then okay. That's how God is. He's like, I'm not going to force you to do anything, because God knows true love comes from one who wants to love, not from someone who feels they're being forced. See, God knew how we thought before we knew how we thought. That's why he gave us free will, because he already knew that these humans going to get some nasty attitudes and want to do things their way. And if I try to force them, yeah, I can make them do it. But I don't want that. I don't want people just doing stuff because I make them do it. God is like, I really want them to know the benefit of doing it the right way. And the only way they'll truly know the benefit is if they want to know it. If they want to know it. If they want to know what is the benefit behind this and they willingly seek it, then God is going, okay, now you're going to find out how it should be. And I'm not forcing you to do it. You're able to do it on your own. And I'm there to help you. If you have any questions, if you need guidance, I'm right there. But you're choosing to seek me and ask me for the answers. You're choosing to try to see it my way. God honors that. But when you remove him from everything, and we have, let's face it, we done removed him from the Constitution, we done removed him from the school, talking about separation of church and state. I mean, come on. Y'all been running that game for years. And you wonder why Satan said, oh boy, Hi. Now that we get God out the way, I can step in and I can do what I want to do, and I influence people to do what they want to do. But here's the gotcha. He know where you going. See, his slot is already sealed. He know he can't get out of his slot, but he knows you can. See, that's the difference. You don't have to believe it. Like I said, everything that I'm saying, you don't have to believe it. You can take what I'm saying and toss it. See, that's the freedom that God is giving you and giving me. I chose to believe what God has taught me and what God has shown me. I'm trying to share with you, but if you don't want to believe it, you don't have to. That's the beauty of the freedom of will and the freedom of choice. But I'm just saying, the gotcha is the part that Satan ain't telling you is, yeah, he like to party. He like to do what he want to do. And if he can get as many of y'all to get on board and say, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do and I don't need you. And you pointing at God saying, I don't need you. No, I'm going to do what I want right now. And Satan be jamming with you. But the got you is, he knows where his spot is. He knows I can't get out of it. God done damned me to hell, and that's where I'm going. But I'm trying to get as many of the people that I know can get out of it to seal their fate too. See, he knows as long as you living and breathing, you can change your mind. And you can say, you know what? I had this all wrong from the beginning. God, I should have been doing it your way. Okay, Lord, I accept you into my heart and I'm going to live it your way. Show me what to do. See, Satan knows every person on this earth has that opportunity that he don't have. Okay? He knows that. But if he can keep you doing what you want to do and saying, I don't want you, God, I don't need you, I got this, I'm going to do what I want to do, then okay. And God's going, I love you, baby. I love you, sweetheart. But you have to love me. You have to choose to want to love me. I can't make you. As much as I would love to make you, I don't want servitude. I want true love. And true love comes from you choosing to say, hey, Lord, I tried it my way and my way don't work. So I'm going to at least see if what you got is true. God is not intimidated. He ain't hurt by your denial and then you turn to him. He's not hurt by that. He understands where it came from. He came from the first people he made. So he knows that mentality. He knows that attitude. But get this, that attitude has never stopped him from loving you. He has loved you through all of it. I don't care how you get out there and protest for your right to do what you want. I don't care how you get out there and, hey, I'm going to do it my way. God is like, okay. I'm here when you decide that you're tired of doing it your way. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm right here. This is the reason why we got all this lawlessness. This is the reason why we got all of these killings and shootings and things. We've taken God out. Our free will. That's what these people are doing. Every time somebody shoots somebody, that's their free will to kill. Their decision to kill. God can't interfere with that. And I know that is a hard thing to hear when it's your loved one that's been murdered, when it's you that has been shot and you in the hospital fighting for your life. It's a hard thing to hear. But that's what's running rampant is people's free will. When you take God out and you don't want to do it his way and you want to do it your way, then you can't be surprised that there are some people that are going to take that free will and they want to do evil. They want to do evil. They want to do bad. They want to do harm. You can't be shocked. You can't be surprised. And you can't blame God. We have to blame ourselves on this one. Because if we had kept God where he was, I'm not saying things would be perfect, but we would have God in a position where he would be able to move on our behalf. He would be able to stop a lot of this stuff because we would pray and say, God, please help us. And because he knows we love him, he come in. And he still does. But we have to ask. He cannot interfere with someone else's free will. But if you ask for protection, he'll protect you. But let's face it, most everybody out there is still having a little fun, doing what they want to do. And they're not trying to hear anything about God. They don't want to hear nothing. They just want to do what they want to do. So God is like, okay, if you can live with that, fine. See, when you want to do what you want to do, there's a lot that goes with that. See, it's really funny. I remember when I was a corrections officer at a juvenile detention center, we would get a lot of kids that would come through there and they would do these adult crimes. I mean, doing some serious stuff. And then they get locked up and then they want to be treated like a kid. And they would even use comments like, well, I'm just a kid. I'm like, whoa. I said, you can't have it both ways. I said, you can't go out there and commit adult crimes and then come in here and cry about how you're a kid. That ain't how the world works. If you think you're big enough to do the crime, then you're going to be big enough to do the time. You want to play in the adult field, then you got to play with the adult tools that come along with it. The tools, the rules, and everything else. You got to deal with it and abide by it. And if you don't, you get treated as an adult because you was playing in that field. You should have stayed in kiddie land, but you decided to go to adult land. Well, when you go to adult land, you deal with adult things. And that's the same thing here. You can't live your life any way you want to and then want God to come in and save you all the time. God's going, your free will said that you wanted to do this on your own. So when the gunshots come, because of someone else's free will, you can't get mad at God. You have to start saying, where did we go wrong? Where did we screw up? Where did we get this wrong? Somewhere along the way, something went wrong. And that's what God is trying to teach all of us. He's trying to teach all of us that somewhere along the way, we removed him out of our homes, out of our schools, out of our businesses, out of our country, and out of our lives. And then we wonder why Satan said, hey, guess who's coming today? Big and bad, bringing all I had. Hey. And if he can get you to do that, then he got you. But please know that as long as you're living and breathing, God can take you right back. You don't have to be in the state that Satan's in. See, misery loves company. Where do you think that statement came from? Where do you think that derived from? That derived from the very thing. Look, Satan and his angels that followed him could have went on to hell and that would have been the end of it. But Satan ain't satisfied with that. He wants to try to prove something to God and say, see them people that you sent your son to die for, you know what? I ain't only going to go there. I know I got to go there and everybody that I influenced. He said, but I'm going to get some of your people too. I'm going to show you that even they ain't going to follow you. And I know just how to do it too. Feed into their need to do what they want to do. They want to be like you, just like I wanted to be like you. And we're going to show you that you can't make us do it. God's going, if they want to go with you, that's their choice. That's the freedom I gave them. If they want to go where you going, they have that right. See, that's what we talk about rights. There's been a lot of talk about rights. Well, you have that right to go to hell if that's what you want to. If you want to take that bus ride with Satan right on down there, God ain't going to stop you. He don't want you to go there because he didn't make that place for you. He made that for Satan and his angels. A lot of people don't believe in Satan. They don't believe he's real. Well, you see, if Satan can get you to believe that, if he can convince you that all this stuff is fake, it ain't real, he got you. You sealing your fate. He's trying to seal your fate like his is. But see, he knows that it's never fully sealed until you take your last breath. Why do you think he's trying to get you strung out on drugs? Why do you think he's trying to get you to drink yourself into oblivion? Why do you think he wants you to kill yourself? Why do you think he puts those ideas in your mind? Why do you think? Because right off the bat, if you do any of those to where you drink and it takes you out, you take that drug and it takes you out, you hang yourself, you stab yourself, you shoot yourself, you drown yourself, whatever you do to take yourself out of here. He knows that once you take that final breath, you're in the same fate he's in. That there's no go back. Sees you can't go back. You can't try to make it right. You can't say, oh God, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. Give me another chance. No, you'll give me another chances is why you still taking in air. But once you stop taking in air, your fate is sealed. And Satan knows that, and that's why he's gunning for you. You can believe it. You cannot believe it. But trust me, I know he's gunning for you. And I know God is gunning for you. But God is saying, I love you. Choose me. And Satan is going, you don't want to go there. Come on now. If you go over there, see, this is how Satan gets you. If you go over there, you ain't going to be able to do this. You ain't going to be able to do that. If you a man and you want to be with a man, you ain't going to be able to do that over there. If you a woman and you want to be with a woman, you ain't going to be able to go. You can't do that over there. If you want to drink till you fall out, you can't do that over there. If you want to smoke weed, do heroin, crystal meth, anything, whatever you want to do, you can't do it over there because God got all these rules. He's always telling you what you can and what you can't do. And we ain't trying to hear all that. We just want to do what we want to do. That's how Satan gets in our ear all the time. But he knows that once you take that last breath doing what you want to do, your fate is sealed. While you're still breathing, you have the chance to turn it all around. God's right there. He ain't went nowhere. I would love to say that the times that we're living in are going to get better. They eventually will, but I have a feeling they're going to get a lot worse because there are still people out there that are just going to do what they want to do. And they don't care about other people. They only care about what they want to do. That's all they care about. And if you or I get in the way of what they want to do, we are a casualty. And again, it goes back to what I said. If you know that you ain't right with God and somebody's freedom of choice decides to slam a bullet into your body, you might want to think about, do you really want to leave this earth knowing that you never got that right with God? That you never turned to him and said, hey, God, hey, I get it. I get it now. It took me a while, but I get it. It's like I said, Satan gunning for you. He wants you to get to that last breath to where your fate is done. And you're going to be with him. In hell, burning and suffering. See, Satan already know that's my fate. I can't get out of that. God won't let me out of that. So I'm trying to take as many as I can with me. So we can all be screaming and hollering down there together. I know a lot of people say that I say things facetiously, that I say it in a funny way, and I may, But I try to appeal to people that, because I know when I was in church, when I was a little kid, some pastors, and I'm not putting them down or anything, but some pastors, their messages were just a little um, wordy, and they were using words that I didn't quite understand and stuff. And so when a preacher would come in and he would talk normal, and he would talk, like I'm talking to you, he'd have the Bible out and he'd be using the word, but he would also talk normal. He wouldn't thee, thou, and thou-ing me to death. You see what I'm saying? So, and there's nothing wrong with thee, thous, and those. It's just that I was one of the ones that I wasn't quite that bright. And so I needed somebody to break down what those words mean. And some preachers would take the time to break it down and some didn't. And I'm not putting those preachers down. They just were different type of preachers, because there's some people who can hear that and know exactly what it means. It ain't over their head. But for someone like me, you got to break it down. I got to understand what you're saying. So while it may sound facetious, I'm basically saying the same thing as the preacher. I'm just breaking it down for the people who are like me, who say, what that mean? Can you run that by me again? I'm breaking it down so you see. God is not beneath breaking it down. God is cool with breaking it down because he wants you to understand. However it takes for you to get it, God just wants you to get it. So I pray for the victims, of the families of the Tulsa, Oklahoma hospital shooting, the church shooting in Iowa, and this recent shooting in Philadelphia. My heart goes out to the families because no one deserves to lose their loved one like that. No one deserves to get caught up in someone else's evil. Just because you mad at the world, why do I got to die just because you mad at the world? I ain't got nothing to do with whatever you mad about, but you going to take me out just because you mad. Our laws need to be stricter. We need to pray for the victims' families, but most of all, we really need to turn back to the one we love, to the one who loved us. We need to turn back to God. I know that there are some people that may watch this and go, whatever. That's your freedom. That's your freedom. That's your choice. I ain't mad. God ain't mad. He's probably heartbroken because he knows that you're going to wind up going through some stuff because your free will wants to go through that stuff because you've chosen not to turn to him. He can't make you, but I'm pretty sure it does break his heart because you're his baby. We're all his babies. He created all of us, whether you want to believe it or not. You can take that and toss it, or you can carry it. He made all of us. And just like all of us who have a mom and dad, we all have character traits. We have some image of our mom and our dads stamped on us, whether it's our eyes, our smile, our personalities, the way we walk, the way we dress, what we like. We've got something from both parents. Well, we all have something from God, and that is our human likeness. We are made in the image of God, and so we're his babies. And so whenever a parent sees their baby do the wrong thing, it breaks their heart. Because even a parent knows that they can't always swoop in and save their child all the time. They want to, but they know they can't. That their child will go through some things that they wish that they could swoop in and save them from. But you got to let your child grow. You got to let your child learn. And that's how God feels about us. He got to let us go. He got to let us learn. So with that being said, y'all, I thank y'all for tuning in. I will be putting up another video soon talking about my love of pets. I'm going to share about my love of pets that I've had. One of the things I like to do before I end my videos is talk about my promotional pick of the week, where I look at videos that I have subscribed to ones that I like, and I like to tune people in that come into my channel to kind of send them over and have them check out other channels. My promotional pick for this week is Southern Girl Crime Stories. Southern Girl Crime Story was a channel that I came across just probably within the last 4 months. And this woman does a lot of cases of missing persons, murders, and mysteries. And she's very thorough in her research. And she lets you know whether the cases are solved or unsolved. And that was something that was very important to me, because if there was a case out there that was already solved, then I didn't have to try to go and look on the internet to find out any more information. But when it's someone's case that's not solved, sometimes I like to go online and just kind of see if I can find if there's any new leads and new information. So please go check her channel out. It's called Southern Girl Crime Stories. Very good channel. Very good channel. All right, y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in. And until the next episode, y'all know the drill.
If you like my vibe, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Till the next time, see ya.